Hey there, friends. Welcome back to week 6 of the Stress Sleep Connection series, where we explore uh, different ways, reasons why we lay our head down at night and we cannot fall asleep even though we're exhausted, and not only why this happens, but also how to naturally take steps to correct it. So, we're all about natural solutions here. So, whether that's oils or lifestyle changes. So, I'm Rebecca Russell, and I am an essential oil expert, author, and speaker. And I love sharing this information, especially about these two subjects, because my sleep issue of the racing brain is what got me into the oils, and the oils upgraded my health. So I want to share this with everyone that is open to learning, because you too can upgrade your health. So let's get into the topic for tonight, and that is perfectionism and how that may affect your sleep. So let's get one thing straight. Perfectionism isn't about high standards, it's about the fear of not being enough. I had never really looked at it that way before. And that's another reason why I love doing these classes, or any class. I always learn right along with you. I I don't know why that never clicked like that, but it just never hit me that way. I just figured that's how I'm wired. That's what I'm modeling, the behavior of my mother, who was a perfectionist. So it that's interesting though, not feeling as if you're going to measure up. And so that puts a little different spin on it. So this mental pressure, just especially if it's chronic, really keeps you in a low grade stress mode. And that is definitely going to affect your sleep and your overall health. So at night, instead of resting, you are, listening to that voice in your head saying you're lazy, or you should have more discipline, you didn't get everything done on that list. And so that chronic stress will equal disrupted melatonin, and then shallow sleep, which we know really affects your brain health, because at night, when you get into that deep, restful sleep, um, you are able to clear out the gunk from the day, the plaque, all the things that are going to give you a lot of problems down the road. So, and that includes adrenal overload. Um, so many women, especially, so I'd say over the age of 40, suffer from adrenal fatigue, and the chronic stress, worry, perfectionism, all of that plays into that. So your brain is still trying to fix what it thinks went wrong, even though your body is begging for rest. So what do we do? Well, um, we've we know we've got the oils, right? So let's figure out how we can let go of perfectionism with grace and with the help of essential oils. So, first of all, you need awareness. Notice the patterns. So, when does that perfectionism voice turn up? Is it during a certain task or time of day? Um, is it during meal prep time, or when you're feeling overwhelmed? Is it in the shower? Who knows? Um, is it especially before you have guests come over and you realize you forgot to dust a certain room, or something's out that shouldn't be? All those things can add to your stress and be a trigger. I know before going on a trip, that usually is a stressor for me, because that nagging fear of forgetting something is awful. So an oil that can support you, if it's once you notice the pattern, is frankincense. It is the oil of truth, and so that brings some mental clarity and calm. So frankincense is an amazing oil for this, to notice your thoughts without judgment. So you can, and any of these oils I mentioned, you can diffuse, um, roll onto your wrist or over your heart, whatever makes sense to you. or the bottoms of your feet. If you like what the oil does, but you don't like the smell, just put it on the bottoms of your feet. Okay, so embrace the idea that it's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. And that sort of falls in line with the phrases better done, uh, better done than perfect, or do it messy, those kind of things. So all the same message. So it's more important to get things done and be consistent than to get it perfect. And sometimes that's super hard for me. I am a recovering perfectionist. Anyone else out there, or is it just me? um, but I have learned, especially if it's something that's not in my strengths, like, creating posts for Facebook, say. Um, I don't feel that's a strength of mine. And I could waste so much time on Canva trying to figure out, is that the right font or is it the right shade of green? And I finally, I read this somewhere, I set a timer. So I have 10 minutes to make that post, the uh, event image or whatever it is I'm working on. But 10 minutes. And when that timer goes off, I'm done. I cannot mess with it anymore. So that may be a good tip for you as well. So good oil for this is the grounding blend balance, because it really just helps you feel a more steady, stable, and it's easier to let go of those rigid expectations. So it's just a very calming oil to the brain and body, and it's just everyone needs to have the balance oil in their life, I believe. So a third tip is to practice self-compassion. When you start hearing that criticism, that really, you know, mean voice that's criticizing what you didn't get done, or it's sloppy or whatever, um, stop, and think when you hear that, because you're physically going to react to that. You'll either tense up in the shoulders or your stomach. You'll have knots in your stomach, and so would you talk to a friend that way, or someone you loved? No, you would never do that. So treat yourself with that same kindness and gentleness and compassion. So a good oil for that is bergamot. It is the oil of self-acceptance. And again, you can diffuse it, put it on your wrist and smell, or across your heart. And the other tip is to ditch the comparison trap. So what we sometimes do, especially on social media or in our businesses, we will compare our beginning to someone's middle, or our middle to someone's end, and that's not fair to anybody. It doesn't help anything, and it just can kill any momentum you might have had, and it's just don't do it. There's nothing you gain from that. So a good oil to help you when you find yourself in that frame of mind is lemongrass. It's known for clearing toxic energy, and that's what that is when you compare. And you also have some mental clarity or mental clutter when you're doing those kind of things. So it's good for letting go of what does not serve you. Now, lemongrass is one of those I personally don't like the smell of, so that is one I would put on the bottoms of my feet. But I have a friend who loves it so much she wears it like a perfume. So you do you. So whatever oil resonates with you. So another way to get around this perfectionism is to set more flexible goals. So um, I know when I was doing yoga years ago at a senior center in Dallas, and the instructor got to know me pretty quickly, know me well. And I had come from being very competitive in my 40s and a gym rat and in my peak condition, physical condition. And then I suffered some health issues and lost all that, lost my identity. It was awful and depressing. And so I was clawing my way back. And I was mortified in this senior yoga class that some 70-year-olds were more flexible than me, and I was in my 50s. And so I would find myself like, if so and so next to me was obviously older and able to do a certain pose, then I would push myself even though I did have limitations. And even resting that pose, I it was very challenging for me. And that instructor would come around when we were all, laying there and trying to be, probably everyone else was very relaxed and I'm all tense. And she comes and she puts her uh, hands very gently on my shoulders because that's where I carry my stress. And she just push down a little bit, and she'd say very gently, accept what your body can do right now. And I just had to laugh because it was so clear to her I was competing with other people in a senior yoga class. I mean, that's ridiculous. But that's, when you're used to just sort of wanting to be the best and do your best, and that's what you heard growing up, and you truly believe that's what you should do, then it sort of leaks into everything. So I'm better now, but it was quite a lesson to learn. So a good oil for that is the adaptive calming blend. It just helps you lighten up a little bit and be a little more accepting and flexible. So another tip is to celebrate your small wins. This is something I never used to do because that just didn't register with me that it was important. To me, you didn't celebrate till you hit your big goal. And I now know how detrimental that can be, because a lot of times if you have a big goal, it's going to take a while. It took me 10 years to get published the first time. So I wished I had understood that piece of advice back then. But now every night I record on a worksheet 3 things that brought me joy, because I want to end the night on a positive note. At least 3 things. And then what were my wins for the day, big or small? And, sometimes it's that I took a walk, or got to bed earlier like I'm trying to do, or maybe it's that I resisted, the quote unquote healthy chips at the store that are healthy for a lot of people, but they don't serve me. And so, whatever it is, I didn't scroll as much today on, social media. Um, really take note of those wins. And I also want to mention every Sunday, I have these daily sheets that I keep track of little goals and such. And because I keep track of my wins, on Sunday, I have another sheet where it's review your week. And you are to list your wins for the week. And I can't tell you how many times on Friday I will feel a little down or a lot down because I felt I did not get enough done, because all the checklists were not marked off. And there's always more that could have been done, right? And but when I sit down on Sunday and I go through my wins, I sometimes run out of room. I mean, I have been productive. I have done a lot. It just wasn't the entire list, because I'm usually not realistic. So if you're in that boat, I hope I'm not the only one. You'll be more aware of that, and uh, figure out what works for you on the list making. Sometimes I don't want to put on that. I want to separate my list. So the priorities in one place, if I have time in another place, because it messes with my literal brain. If I have everything on there together and then I don't check them off. So a lot of times the things that are tasks that if I have time, I'll put on a sticky note or somewhere separate, just just to help my brain a little bit, not be so judgmental at the end of the day. Hopefully at some point I'll get over it, not need to do that. So another tip is to celebrate progress, not perfection. And this is another one that's sort of related to the just do it messy kind of thing. Um, just making any progress is huge. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The journey does not have to be perfect. So celebrate those efforts. Citrus Bliss is a great oil for this. It's the oil of creativity and celebration, and it's one of my favorite oils. It smells like a dreamsicle, and I just absolutely love it. I diffuse it a lot, and especially on long car rides. Those are really, that's a great oil for that. So one of the last tip I'm going to give is to let people in. So um, you don't have to be perfectly put together to be loved or helpful. You don't have to be constantly doing to be enough. You don't have to constantly be in service to be loved. You are loved just because you're you. And someone who is an overachiever, who is goal oriented, this can be sort of a seems strange because we're so much, our worth is tied to doing and accomplishing. And I'm not, you know, laying that on anyone as it's their fault or not. It's just, it does seem like that's how I'm wired. But to just really accept that message and not just blow it off, that you are enough just as you are. You do not have to be constantly proving anything. And rose oil or magnolia are beautiful oils for this. They just help support the heart, and it helps to dissolve the fear of not being enough. So if you don't have never tried those oils, I highly recommend it. You can put it over your heart, or just inhale and just really meditate, think about those things. So I also want to remind you that perfectionism, it disguises itself as discipline or ambition, but what your body, mind, and heart and spirit needs is freedom, grace, and rest. So you're not here to be perfect, you're here to be whole, and you're here to be you. You are uniquely made and wonderfully made and worthy of love, happiness, success, health. You are enough. And so you've got this. You don't, perfectionism is not your friend. And I think one thing too that's come out for me as a business owner is perfectionism is unrelatable. I I know that some people are surprised when they find out that I too cave into the temptation sometimes. I'll have those healthy chips that aren't healthy for me, or some other indulgence. I don't do it that often, but I do. And people seem shocked to know that I struggle with things too. And it makes me a little sad that people think that I'm giving off that aura of perfect, because I am not. I am so far from perfect. I have been trying, let me give you this is why this series is so important. I have been trying to get to bed earlier for at least 2 years. Years. And I am a little closer now at making it happen. But this should be a done deal. It's not rocket science. It doesn't take any particular skill, but it's fighting my natural wiring and something else that I haven't figured out. So, but I'm slugging away. I'm not giving up. And so I think that's maybe one thing that people get confused about. Because I don't give up, they assume I'm perfect. And that's just not true. So this is a deeply personal subject for me, the whole sleep stress thing. So I'm right here, sharing information with you, but these are reminders for me to help me as well. I am selfishly motivated and I do not shy away from that. So, but I do hope that you gain some insight during these Facebook Lives. So, what there are oils too that can help you shift from pressure to peace. And bergamot is one we mentioned, the oil of self acceptance. Adaptive, we mentioned as well. That's another one to help with the calming. And then another combo, which is really nice, is lavender and frankincense. So it just helps with relax the nervous system. So I've shared several personal tidbits in this. So I hope it's helpful to hear what my struggles are with perfectionism and sleep. And I just want to end with sleep isn't a reward for being perfect. It's not that we have to earn that right to sleep well. It's a requirement for being well. And if you feel stuck in a loop of doing, proving, and overthinking, let's find a gentler way together. If you need more tips than what I gave today, then just reach out, drop the word enough in the comments, and I will reach out to you and we will put our heads together and come up with a game plan that can help you address the stress sleep connection and how that affects you. And just know that because we are so different, everyone is uniquely made, that what works for me may not work for you. And frankincense may not do it for you. You may like copaiba better. So you have to have that patience to try different things to see what works for you. So I hope you found this helpful. I would love to know a takeaway from this for you. And until next time, choose you, choose natural, choose now.